Welcome to the Thursday, January 20th Town Board meeting. Roll, please.
Supervisor Perotti,
Here.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Here.
Blackman,
Here?
Fabulard,
Yes, here.
and Gutierrez is just not here quite yet. Or
I believe he said he would be a little late.
7:01.
Okay, supervisors report. Water District upgrade and American Rescue Funds, working on plan to best utilize funds for water district improvements. Highway garage grant writer working on RFP for engineering feasibility study. CDBG Route 44 sidewalk grant, engineers working with DOT to get necessary permits to prepare for construction bidding. Town of Amenia COVID-19, the Amenia Town Hall is open by appointment only for business Monday through Thursday at regular business hours. Masks are required and are available in an envelope on the second set of doors. Signing the visitor log is required. Committee, board, and commission meetings are currently being held remotely. COVID-19 vaccine information. For anyone who is homebound, vaccine appointments can be made by calling 845-486-2555. COVID-19 vaccines are available at Amenia Drugs. Call for appointment 845-373-8000, and CVS pharmacies. Go online to schedule an appointment. Vaccination and booster shots are an important part of a multi-layered approach to protecting yourself and your family from COVID-19. DBCH and Medical Reserve Corps of Dutchess County volunteers offer vaccinations and boosters with all three brands, Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J, at our convenient JCPenney site at the Poughkeepsie Galleria. Visit www.dutchessny.gov/COVID vaccine for our expanded clinic dates and times and to make an appointment. Clinics this week are as follows: Saturday, January 22nd, 9 through 12, Moderna and J&J. JCPenney testing site hours: Poughkeepsie Galleria, former JCPenney site, Tuesday 1 through 7, Wednesday 1 through 7, Thursday 1 through 7, Friday 1 through 7, Saturday 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. After I did my supervisor's report, I received 2 emails with additional information from Dutchess County. Dutchess County is offering upcoming COVID-19 testing as well as vaccination opportunities at its Eastern Dutchess location at the former CVS located at 3081 Route 22 in Dover Plains. Testing will be offered Tuesdays and Fridays, 4 through 7, January 25th through February 11th. And the other notice that I received is that Dutchess County to distribute thousands of additional free at-home COVID-19 tests. Each test kit includes 2 individual tests and are available for Dutchess County residents only. Next week, test kits will be available on a first-come, first-served basis at the following distribution sites. Sunday, January 23rd from 10 to noon, former JCPenney site, Poughkeepsie Galleria. Wednesday, January 26th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Dover High School. Friday, January 28th from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., Dutchess County Fairgrounds. Town clerk report.
Oh, Vicki?
Yeah.
Damien is in the waiting room.
Yeah, Victoria, can you let him in? Sorry.
I did. He is in.
There he is.
Hey, Damien, welcome.
Hello. Victoria, I had a
Yes.
question for you. The CDBG cycle, when is the next application, more or less?
In this fall.
It's in the fall. Okay, thank you. Great,
When I get the application, and I'll send it to you.
great. Thank you very much.
Hey, good evening. This evening, I'm presenting to the town board that the state, county, and local revenue for the town clerk's office for the month of December of 2021 was $431, with $429 being remitted as the local share, and the remaining non-local revenues were remitted to the New York State Ags and Market. earlier circulated, and hard copies are in the town board mailboxes, December 16th, and our reorganizational January 6th minutes. Presenting them to the board this evening is the vouchers on an abstract that was also circulated earlier this date, consisting of multiple pages. You did see that there was a December 2021 #2 abstract, a December prepaids, January prepaids, and our normal monthly bills of January 2022. So I'm going to give you the totals for each of the funds. General Fund A, $150,172.08. Highway Fund, $72,260.77. Amenia Lighting, $980.15. Wasaik Lighting, $350.82. Amenia Water, $5,032.66, for a total of all four abstracts, $228,796.48. In presenting this abstract, I'm also seeking the authorization for the supervisor to pay claims.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
Leo. Council members Blackman,
aye.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Rebellard.
Yes.
I did start with Doyle, did I not? No, I'm trying to put you guys in alphabetical order here, and Damien came in late. So I went in before Vicky, I'm sorry. Doyle,
Yes.
Perotti.
Yes.
Okay. Switching hats real quick is I'm going to read it one more time. This way it's two consecutive town board meetings, as well as it went into the newspaper 2 consecutive weeks. The notice of the tax roll on the warrant for 2022. Please take notice that I, Dawn Marie Kligner, the undersigned tax collector for the town of Amenia, Dutchess County, state of New York, have duly received the tax roll and warrant for the collection of taxes within the town of Amenia for the year of 2022, and that I will attend 4988 Route 22, Amenia, from January 3rd, 2022 to February 28th, 2022, 9 o'clock in the forenoon to 2 o'clock in the afternoon on each day, excepting Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, and holidays for the purposes of receiving taxes listed on the said roll. Please take further notice that the taxes may be paid on or before February 28th, 2022. On all taxes received after such date, there shall be an additional 1% for each additional month or fraction thereof until such taxes are paid or until the return of the unpaid taxes to the county treasurer pursuant to law. January to February 28th, there's 0% penalty. March 1st through March 31st, 2% penalty. April 1 through April 30th, 3% penalty. May 1 through May 31st, 4% penalty. June 1 until settlement with the county treasurer, 5% penalty. In addition, after May 15th, a fee of $2 will be added for each parcel. Please take further notice that pursuant to the provisions of the law, the tax roll of the town of Amenia will be returned to the county treasurer of the county of Dutchess on the first day of June. So that is the second time that I've read that into the minutes. I do want to share with each of you a little cheat sheet that we've come up with here, and it is posted to our door. You can pay your taxes online, and that is a function that we've had available now for several years. I know some of us, dredge throwing something in the mail and they want to come up, and just having not been able to come in or finding the doors locked and forgetting your cell phone in your car and not knowing to call and hitting 125 to get us in so we can greet you at the door. There is a secure lock mailbox right attached to the building, which is perfect to drop it in there. They get counted for the same day. But for those of you that are a little bit more tech savvy and just want to go right online and pay them, it's a great convenience for folks. If you want to use your credit card, your debit card, or your e-check, by paying with a card, you're going to incur a 2.45 additional percent. That is not it's not a penalty. It's a fee that's associated with the credit card machine. We don't do enough business here at the town of Amenia, so someone has to incur those costs. And so rather than putting that on the town, it's going to the individual user who's using that option. But for $1.75, you can do your e-check online. And that isn't a least expensive option rather than going to the post office, because I do see some folks are sending in their payments to ensure receipt and they're spending up to $24.90. So you can do it right online. You get your receipt right online. And then once it processes through the next day, you can go online and see that it's been processed. So that is another option for you to pay your taxes. And hopefully that'll help you make sure that you beat the February 28th deadline. I share a friendly reminder notice with a few of our last friends who were appointed at our last 2 meetings for filling open positions. The oaths of offices must be completed. The 3 that I'm waiting for are aware that they're coming. So you do have next week, but it's there. Tonight in our packets, I see that we have our building department, highway and water, and our recreation. So please note on behalf of the building department submitted for dated January 5th, please find that the December monthly report for the building department, it totaled $13,130. In response to one of our new board members, I know you did ask about details. I don't read the details out online, but all board members are provided with a copy of the details. I just give the summary of the collection of the monies that were turned over to the supervisor. That's more for a auditor purpose. She likes to see that the board is aware and is acknowledging the funds that are coming through, because then after, when you approve my minutes, it's also acknowledging that those funds have been transferred from one department to another. But Leo, if that answers your question, the details I believe that you're looking for should be in there. In our highway report, Megan has shared with us that everything is going well. They've had a lot of small ice storms and that they've used a substantial amount of material. Even though we had some strong winds, we've had no tree issues. I'll find some wood. I've been working hard with FEMA concerning the damage on Tower Hill from the Hurricane Ida. We've also had one meeting where we are scheduled for a second one soon. Paperwork has been completed. Yesterday, we cleaned up in front of the Amenia Post Office because of an ice buildup on the road. Marco confirmed that there is no water leak, and that's submitted from Megan Chamberlain, and it's dated this date. Also in there, on the highway, we have our water report. Marco shares with us the monthly usage report. So in this report, you'll find that he does 2 consecutive months back to back. It shows us the total gallons that were used. He does itemize out some of his activity for the month. So if he had any customer calls, they would be noted there. He does tell us when he has to do his water line markouts and dig out for save. He lets us know that he had to respond to an emergency for repairs that was on December 17th due to the loss of communication between the pump house and Restore Communications. And then he shares with us some of the other items that he's conducted for this December month. From cleaning out some pumps, he's had to replace failed meters, backflow update, quarterly meter reads, and he's taken the monthly samples. So those are, and in regards to our recreation report, it's not that there's a report, but I do come back. I did speak with Kelly. There's no report specifically for recreation because their meeting was canceled this month. I did circulate to the board earlier, and so that way all of our public that is watching today, that the town board is in receipt of a notice of a public hearing. The planning board is going to be having a public hearing on January 26th at 7 p.m. That is going to be offered via Zoom. So as under the same format to which we are watching tonight, and it's for silent commercial property. So that public hearing notice has been circulated to the town board and attorney respectfully. In addition to leaving in your mailbox the items, the minutes, and the bookkeeping reports, I did leave in your mailbox as a follow-up from our December meeting. We had received an application from the kitchen committee. We have 1 application. We have 3 applications for the broadband committee. We do have an ethics application that we discussed at our last meeting. That is also there. He wasn't able to attend this evening, so I believe that'll be scheduled at our next meeting. And then there's an application for maintenance mechanics. So all of those applications are available in your mailboxes. And as a last fun notice is that the Amenia seniors are going to be resuming back to their trips On Tuesday, March 15th, they are going to Aqua Turf Club, and it looks like they're going to be celebrating St. Patrick's Day. So any of our friends out there that usually participate and attend the senior trips, be on the lookout. I know Michelle was in and we gave her copies today. This announcement's being mailed out. And that should conclude my report for this evening.
Did you want to do the minutes?
I didn't know if Vicky and Damien had if everybody's been able to look at them.
I have.
Okay, so the first set of minutes was circulated was December 16th of 2021.
I'll make a motion that we approve the December 16th, 2021 minutes as submitted.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Blackman,
Saying I wasn't here.
abstain would be.
That's abstain.
Abstain.
What?
Abstain.
Oh, that's what I said. I just didn't say it clearly. Sorry.
Okay. And then Rebillard,
I've read the information.
But you can't vote on it,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
you need to abstain.
All right, abstain.
the next one you guys can answer. So also circulated earlier was January 6th, the reorganizational meeting. And we'll
Make a motion that we approve the January 6th, 2022 minutes as submitted.
Second.
and council, we'll go right around. Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilman Blackman,
Yes.
Rebillard,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Supervisor Perotti.
Yes.
Great. And not that this is on my prepared report for this evening, but I do want to share with our two new board members. So I know we talked about, you guys talked in your minutes about minutes and being posted to our website. And so what it is that now that they've been approved, these will immediately go on. I know that there's some concerns, disciplines in regards to posting to the website. And the only thing I wanted to share is that everything that we get in here is currently posted. And I did confirm with Erica to go in and check. So you want to make sure you're going on to the shared services portion of the website and do that drop down and look for the committees that you're seeking. Hard copies of all the official minutes are right behind me in the vault. There are binders, and I would like to welcome the two new board members to come in and see so you can see firsthand. I do have a checklist in front of each of the committees or boards, commissions of the minutes that are in the binder, the date that they were submitted, and the date that they were approved by said. So I know there's some questions out there about, what items that are missing. Staff is working with staff to see that we can get those hard copies, and immediately upon doing so, you'll note once they get posted that they'll be stamped by this office on the date that they came. So even if they're February 2021, you're going to see the current date to the date that we received them. So please note that this office is working and always trying to do outreach and is constantly seeking those minutes. It doesn't mean that they always make it to this office. So committees, commissions, boards that are out there watching this meeting tonight, your town board liaisons are tasked with bringing this information back to you to see that this information gets out there. So please work with your town board members. If you have questions, how to post on the website, how to properly do a notice, how to circulate an agenda, all those same rules, the open meetings laws that you heard them talking about at the last meeting that apply to the town board, apply to you as well.
I have a question.
Sure.
So I think this came up before from one of our committee members, is that she looked up open meetings law and realized that we should have our minutes posted within 2 weeks of our meetings, but that doesn't seem realistic given most of our committees don't meet more than once a month. So do you have a suggestion, or?
There's a difference between being posted and being made available. So they're made available if you send them and circulate them and make them available. So,
But they would only be a draft.
they'd only be a draft if somebody should request them. So say somebody and I hate to use, I don't want to, it's like I'm picking on a group. Let's use recreation, because recreation is current and they're perfect. So if you were to use recreation and say you wanted to see what their last meeting was, it would have been January 13th. If you wanted to see their minutes, and you can get them and they would be marked draft and they would be handed out. We're only posting what was approved minutes to alleviate any of the confusions. And it's being completed in 10 days. And you use circulation among your group, not posted to the official town website, but they should be made available. So you were kind enough to share a set of minutes as a draft. And that chair did share with you that, you know, not to share them with me until they're final. And this is all based off of your committee guidelines. Your committee guidelines say that they must share them, and they should be sharing them with the town board and the town clerk. So I think there's a couple of things you got to take in consideration. Damian brought it up that you guys are, I know because I was at the meeting, we're working on the committee guidelines. That should be a hot focus if somebody wants to take that on and update our committee guidelines to open and follow what the open meetings law is, and then the current practices of what's going on with your committees.
So I should be sharing the drafts. We should be sharing drafts with your office and the town board. I just want to make sure I'm clear because I got a different message today.
Yeah, and because I told them I don't need the drafts. I should be able to pick up the phone and say, hey, so-and-so, can I get it? If somebody requests it. But I know, just like you guys were talking at your last meeting, that your meetings only meet once a month. So if you give me just your final ones, those will get posted next month. So you always have to be a meeting.
So you'll call if you actually get a request.
Yes, I've only had, the person that shared that open meetings law also called here looking for a particular board's minutes. And I immediately forwarded her to that secretary because I didn't have them in my possession.
Okay.
Which is the issue. And, you know, I've spoken to the supervisor with it, and I know she's working on it, and I know my staff is working on it. I just need a copy of them. And so I think that will help the individual who's seeking the items, and we can get them posted so anyone can read them.
Can I just interject here? I would encourage my colleagues that we not be reactive about this issue and try to be very proactive with our committees to make sure that they're compliant with open meeting law. For the last year and a half, I've encouraged the committees I liaise with to use our town team's video conferencing account to make sure that they're recording the session and to submit that recording to our videographer. All of those go a long way towards the goal of public transparency. We are also required by the emergency meetings law to provide transcripts, and those can be recorded those transcripts can be generated by our town video conference system. But I would prefer that we not pick and choose which aspects of open meetings law that we decide we want to be compliant with because of certain people making requests. Let's just encourage our boards to understand what the rules are and try to do the best to help them abide by those rules. Ian, I know you're on. I don't know if you're on mute, but I shared with you last year an example of a committee guidebook that in our research effort last year, I thought was really comprehensive, really well written, really clearly written, gave really good examples of like what was expected, what was required, and what behavior and responsibilities were going to be asked of our committee members, of our volunteers. If you've had a chance to look at that, great. If not, let's set some time aside to go through that together.
I recall the email. I did receive it. I have it. I haven't looked at it in a while because it was last year. I do recall it was from Massachusetts, but it was pretty comprehensive, and certainly could be something that we could sit down and look at.
That's great. So just to the board members here, you guys liaise. What's up, Vicki?
Oh, I just got a text from somebody who's tuned in, and she says, it's a law. We're not picking and choosing. So we have an audience out there who's paying attention, who does really
No,
want.
no, I agree. But for example, we're meeting on video conference right now, right? We are obligated by law to provide a transcript, a written transcript of this meeting. I haven't seen a written transcript of a town board meeting.
Why would we need to do that if we have a video recording, which is the same thing with pictures? I mean, that doesn't make any rational sense. Are you saying that both of them are required? Or you just want to cover your bases in case?
The law, the law that was put into place during COVID required that a transcript be made available upon request.
Okay, in light of the fact that the committees are all volunteers, is it at all reasonable to ask the volunteers to record and then type up everything that's said in a meeting? I don't think so.
No, but if we use, for example, that was the recommendation I made to the committees I liaise with. If you use the town video conference system, it will generate a relatively accurate, approximate, sort of voice to speech transcript, which I would argue should satisfy that requirement without any additional effort.
Yeah, I guess we just need to make that clear to the committee chairs that it's not both, because that would be kind of insane.
What do you mean it's not both?
It's not a video recording and a written transcript that each committee chair is responsible to provide.
No. There's no video recording obligation in the law. Ian, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you are correct. There's no obligation, and the transcript has to be produced upon request.
Okay.
And unapproved minutes should be marked as such, either draft and unapproved.
Okay.
Just so when the committees are submitting them, they should be marked as draft and unapproved minutes.
And another component that we talked about, and I believe it was this month last year, as we were still facing all of this new platforms. And Vicki, I know you and I kind of had some dialogue back and forth, and I was even able to just do it right on the computer with the town board, a Zoom meeting. And that's what happens after 20 minutes, you got to move. On our website, you have the calendar. And one of the suggestions that I put out there was it says town board meeting. If you were able to click it and open to it, you can put the link. So anyone that, can just go on their phone and access these meetings. So whether it's CAC, recreation, housing board, that way nobody has to make a special call or request to be able to attend the meetings. It was an easy, just click on it and it would bring you right to the link. So that was something that we're doing, but I don't know how much longer we're going to be doing video conferencing. So it was just an easier way to utilize the calendar, trying to mainstream some of the items. By going onto that calendar, you can place the agenda there. We can there's different tools that I think we can do. There's other platforms that I know cost money. If you were to ever visit the town of Dover and see how their platform is, it's set up where it has your video, it has your minutes, and it has just everything. It's been tweaked. And especially with open meetings law, we all know that the resolutions that you're approving that are set forth on the agenda and that have been properly advertised, they need to be made available, prior to the meeting. So these are all, just trying to find the best platform to make this all flow and keep us all organized from upstairs, downstairs, or even the volunteers that are watching from home and working from home. So it's just, we're going to have the conversations just to try to make our lives easier. So maybe with the new folks on here who are very active, you'll find that there's other things that we can do to mainstream. So I hope some of those ideas just help you out. And as you guys work with your boards, I look forward to see what you're going to do with your new committees.
I think key to us understanding the basics, which we started out with, was where are these minutes for the new people? You can get really, really complicated, or you could just say, the new people coming on to these boards need to have access to the previous minutes so they can bring themselves up to speed. So just in a simple first brush thing, I think the thing is that we may not be getting onto the shared services portal correctly. And I know Dover's Katie Palmer House said that she would be happy to help me figure out how to access it so that I could find the minutes on our site the way I could find the minutes on her site. And she said, I'll
Yeah.
sit down with you.
It's super
So,
easy. I mean, Nina was great. Nina called one day. She needed something. I said, have you gone on the municipal archive site? It's on our homepage.
right, no, I see that.
You know, so
And then I search, and then
no,
I
no,
search.
no. We're
You
not
can't search
searching.
them. Right, it
No.
doesn't come up with anything.
But I don't want you to term search. You just go municipal archive search. And when you click that, then it brings you into Laserfish. And then you see browse in Town of Amenia minutes. When you select on Town of Amenia minutes, it says board name. Are you looking?
Oh my
for
gosh, now
housing
wait a minute.
Amenia housing? Are you going to CAC?
The average person is not going to know that they need to click on Laserfish or Town Board. They think they're looking for the Housing Commission, not Town Board minutes. So that's where we're all screwed up, is that it's not a logical sequence, in my opinion.
I mean, I don't know if I can share my screen on this platform here, but I can move my camera. So if you look at my other screen,
Yeah.
and you just, wait, I gotta find where I am. Yep, and you just click on this blue button, bam. You're
I
there.
can give some insight
I can
into
see
why that is.
You can share it, Jamie. I
Vicky,
mean,
Yeah,
Part
I'll
of the
come in
reason-
and learn, and then I'll teach our people where it is, but I can tell you it's not, people like me say, oh, you put it in the search thing and you come up with nothing. So you think there's nothing there. But
with this particular matter, we did actually, during the website port, we did actually try to figure out a solution to this, but we have a shared services grant with Dover. What are the other towns involved?
Northeast and Beekman.
And Beekman. And so what that is it's a shared services grant to create a municipal archive, and it's a separate technical system. It's not an archive that is part of the same searchable records that the rest of the information on the database is. So that's why it's in that separate section. Unfortunately, there was no way to bridge the search function into that archive, but that archive is available on the website, as Dawn indicated. I agree. The minutes, we should do better and make our minutes available. I love the fact that Dover records a lot of their meetings. I love the fact that other surrounding towns record all of their committee meetings. I think that's really, really, as far as transparency goes, it's a really valuable service that we can provide to the viewing public. There's no requirement to do that, but I just think that in the spirit of sort of open and good, transparent government, recording all of these committee meetings and finding a way to do that easily for our committee members would be a huge benefit to everybody in town. And if
can I
go
jump
ahead.
in? So you said Dover has a good example of recorded minutes. Like everybody now knows what about board recorded things on YouTube. Right? So it's in several places. You don't have to go into a new portal. You can find. So is that where we would be storing and sharing these? I don't think so, right? It wouldn't be in the same access.
Sure. Yeah. We have a town
YouTube and
YouTube
have
account,
them
right?
all-
So I'll give an example, Vicki. The boards that I liaised with last year, the wastewater and the housing board, I encouraged the chairs to record that. I got them set up with Mike to send those recordings to Mike, and Mike posted them on the Amenia YouTube channel. Okay, if we can imagine all of our committee meetings would be recorded and placed there, that'd be huge. I think
YouTube sounds more accessible. People understand. You search and you find. You put Amenia Housing Board, and you probably would find their recorded session. You put Amenia Housing Board into our search button, not knowing about this shared services portal, and you get nothing. So I think that if we can find a way to make our meetings more instantly and accessible and visible and thoroughly shared, that's our goal, right? So I would go with encouraging that as a quick and dirty, let's get this thing shared fast so people can see what's going on.
Thanks. And Ian, I'm putting a link to an article in the chat. You tell me if it's accurate or not, but I found it helpful in sort of simple, layman's non-legal language as to what our obligations are under the emergency coronavirus executive order amendment to the open meetings law. If that's accurate, great. If it's not, let us know. But my understanding is that we do need to transcribe and record the videos. We just don't necessarily need to post them unless they're requested, as you indicated.
I will take a look at that for you.
Hey, Vicki, you had a report?
Oh, are we ready for that already? Let's see. I emailed it to everybody. And if I can find it. Sent. Oh, actually, I have it down here. Okay. So recreation meeting, we already talked about that. It's rescheduled for February 10th. It's every second Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. The enhancement committee is going to be removing Christmas decorations in Amenia NY. The CAC has a report from Michael Peak. The town of Amenia's Conservation Advisory Council held its first meeting of the new year last night via Zoom, and it was well attended despite the fact that several members were traveling and had to call in from the road. We recognized Maureen Earle's resignation, thank you, Maureen, and welcome new member Stacy Mantle as well as the new town board liaison, Brad Rebellard. The CAC will meet at 7 p.m. on the third Wednesday of every month, preferably in person at the town hall, but also remotely if and when it's appropriate. We discussed BQ Energy's interest in developing a solar field on the old Amenia landfill site, which we're very excited about. If it can be done, this would result in a complete transformation of the site from a former toxic waste dump and Superfund site to a source of renewable green energy. This would be a tremendous environmental success story for the town of Amenia, and we strongly recommend that the town board move forward on this initiative. We then reviewed our plans and progress toward our Clean Energy Community CEC and Climate Smart Community CSC goals. We've got clear roadmaps to completing 4 CEC actions, which would help us secure a $5,000 grant toward future work. We're talking about things like LED streetlights and the New York State Unified Solar Permit and Energy Code Enforcement training, all of which have been completed and just require documentation for us to receive credit. We also discussed heat pumps and geothermal technology, and we recommend that the town board consider using these systems to supply heating and cooling as appropriate to the new highway garage facility. We're looking forward to working closely with the town board, planning board, and zoning board this year and getting some big things done. Thank you. Let's see, affordable housing. The January meeting was rescheduled to February. The date's still to be determined, and we're still working on a chair. Ashley Lay is available to attend our February 3rd meeting to review her memorandum summarizing ways the town might update the existing workforce housing law and other relevant zoning code sections. Again, it's just to preserve and encourage affordable housing units in the town, promote the construction of moderate income housing units, clarify the approvals and administrative process within the workforce housing law. And, AKRF has reviewed the existing relevant chapters and has some suggestions that we could update these laws and promote affordable housing and clarify the process. We should remind, this is my own personal thing, we should remind Silo Ridge of their responsibility to paint parking space lines, I guess when the weather permits, on the town hall parking lot to ensure efficient use of our parking lot. Leo and I met with Donald Batali of Hearing Loops Unlimited and Hudson Valley Audiology to investigate ways to make the planning board room ADA accessible for those with hearing impairments. We hope to have a quote from a hearing for a hearing induction loop to be installed in the planning board room so that those with T-coil hearing aids would be wirelessly and automatically connected to the PA system when they walk in, as long as you use the PA system, of course. That PA system will need to be utilized in order for people with hearing impairments to hear properly. There was one other thing, BQ Energy's managing director, Paul Coran, is available for our February 3rd or 17th town board meeting. So I would encourage us to invite him.
Can you ask him to come on the 17th?
I will indeed.
Because we have Ashley Lay coming on the 3rd.
Okay, thank you. That's all.
Can I just ask a question about the solar lease? Vicky, you and I think it was like 2 years ago, we spoke to that other solar company about developing a solar field on the landfill. And I think we did a little legwork with legal at that time. I believe if we're considering granting a lease to town property, I think we have to do a public procurement for that. I could be wrong. I don't know if we can sole source that. Ian, I don't know if you know the answer to that offhand. But if
What's sole source? Sorry.
just basically let one company lease it without doing a public procurement to see who might be willing to pay more. Generally, in my private sector.
Yeah, no, I think that's all, lots and lots of those details have to be investigated. And this is like, step one. What BQ Energy's Paul Current told me on the phone when I asked him about this, he said, look, this is just we'd pay you $10,000 for this option to potentially exercise a lease. They need a document from us that would allow them to go to NYSEG and talk to them about the transmission potential. I mean, we're so far away from actually leasing land. This is just a pro forma. They literally cannot go and talk to NYSEG until they have something signed that says they're serious about doing something on this property. And so they would do surveys, they would do engineering studies, they would figure out how much megawatts they could get out of it and all of the things they need to do, but they can't move forward to square one without this option. And it's non-binding as far as I can tell. I'm not a lawyer, but if you read the thing, they'll pay us $10,000 a year for up to 3 years for them to do their research so that we don't sell it or do something, what are we going to do with the landfill? But anyway, they're going to pay us $10,000 a year.
Well, Ian would have to look at it, first of all, and secondly, it wouldn't be just NYSEG they had to speak to. It would also have to be the DEC because there's monitoring wells there.
And Central Hudson. And they do work with landfills. That is their specialty. So they're used to working with DEC. So all of that, has to be looked at.
I just put a link in the chat to an RFP that the town of New Paltz put out for leasing municipal land for solar development. And again, in my experience, typically these types of things are put out for bid to ensure that the municipality gets the highest value, from the marketplace, from those interested. But I think the linked to RFP is a good example that we might want to reference if we want to go that route later on.
I will look into that for you, Damien. I do not know the answer to that off the cuff here, but I believe that it would.
Well, I think it's interesting. It's good to have this company come and explain the process to us. So at least we would know what the process is.
Absolutely.
They've done Beacon, they're doing Milan, so they already probably know what New York State law is going to, require of all of us, right? Because this is what's happening.
Okay, if there are no other committee reports, we have the standard workday resolution number.
15.
At a meeting of the town board of the town of Amenia held at Amenia Town Hall on the 20th day of January 2022 at 7 p.m., Town Supervisor Victoria Perotti called the meeting to order and seconded by Councilman Dawn, who seconded opening the meeting. Introduce.
It's going to be who's moving this resolution. So who wants to move it and second it?
I'll do it.
Moving or seconding, Damien? You gonna move it?
I'm going to second it.
Somebody has to move it.
I'll move it.
Move forward.
Yep. Supervisor Perotti will so move. Introduce the following resolution to it. Whereas it is required by the New York State Employees Retirement System that all active employees and elected and appointed officials participating in the retirement system have a locally established standard workday for the purposes of reporting retirement credit. Whereas the town of Amenia has active full-time and part-time employees and elected and appointed officials who participate in the New York State Employees Retirement System. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby adopts the following as standard workdays for active full-time and part-time employees and elected and appointed officials who report the following days worked to the New York State and locals employees retirement system. Title motor equipment operator, 8 hours. Working foreman, 8 hours. Secretary to Planning Board and Zoning Board of Appeals, 8 hours. Assessor, 6 hours. Assessor aide, 6 hours. Deputy Town Clerk, 6 hours. Custodian, 6 hours. Clerk, 6 hours. Secretary to Supervisor, 6 hours. Secretary to Zoning Board of Appeals, 6 hours. Typist, 6 hours. Bookkeeper, 6 hours. Building Inspector, 6 hours. Constable, 6 hours. Real Property Lister, 6 hours. All other elected or appointed officials, 6 hours. The foregoing resolution was voted upon with all councilpersons voting as follows.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilman Blackman,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Remillard.
Yes.
Resolution number 16 of 2022, transfer of funds for December 2021, number 2. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 13554.01.044 assessors CE judiciary by $301.95 and decreasing expense line 13554.01.119 assessor CE contracts by $301.95. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 16204.01.062 building CE maintenance by $1,407.89, decreasing expense line 16204.01.059 building CE heat by $1,407.89. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 31201.01.75 police and constable PS special events by $613.24 and decreasing expense line 31201.01 police and constable PS by $613.24. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing revenue line 2555.01 building permits by $11,997.17 and increasing expense line 14204.01 attorney CE by $10,373.83, increasing expense line 54102.01 154 sidewalks EQ CDBG accessible by $1,623.34. Whereas budget amendment to the general fund increasing expense line 51324.01.062 garage CE maintenance by $1,113.54, decreasing expense line 50324.01.054 garage CE electrical by $798.17 and decreasing expense line 51324.01.059 garage CE heat by $315.37. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 71104.01 Amenia Park CE by $11.68 and decreasing expense line 714,404.01.91 playgrounds recreation CE Easter egg by $11.68. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund increasing expense line 71104.01.089 Amenia Park CE ballpark lights by $1,765.77 and decreasing expense line 73104.01.121 youth program CE senior league by $900 and increasing expense line 73104.01.094 youth program CE girls softball by $865.77. Whereas budget amendment in the general fund, increasing expense line 80204.01 planning CE by $1.15 and decreasing expense line 80104.01.048 zoning CE conferences by $1.15. Whereas budget amendment in the highway fund, increasing expense line 51304.03 machinery CE by $534, decreasing expense line 51304.03.036 machinery CE diesel by $534.86. Whereas budget amendment in the water fund, increasing revenue line 2142.06 unmetered sales by $5,225.97, increasing expense line 83101.06 administration PS by $340.50, increasing expense line 83104.06.128 administration CE software by $99, increasing expense line 83202.06 source power pump equipment by $226.71, and increasing expense line 83204.06 source power pump CE by $4,109.66, increasing expense line 83304.06.117 purification CE lab by $48, and increasing expense line 83404.06 transmission distribution by $350, and increasing expense line 90308.06 Social Security Town by $52.10. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorizes the transfer of necessary budget lines to process the transaction. I make that motion.
Second.
Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle,
Yes.
Councilman Blackman,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Fablelaro.
Can I ask a question? Or is it too late?
Certainly.
I have a question. Actually, I have a couple of questions. Dawn Marie, is that posted on our website?
What?
The resolution and that list of numbers?
That will be posted on the website after it's been approved and put out.
And Ian, does Victoria really have to read all those numbers? Because I've read the paper. I mean, I've seen it on paper, and it's hard enough to follow when you're reading it. It seems really strange to me that there's no way you can follow that listening to it, basically. I mean, rationally. What's the rule?
That's why the resolutions are posted after.
That's why they're posted after.
You mean so no one can see them?
No, the resolution's posted and read, so everyone can hear and see it.
I'm sorry, did you say it's posted before or posted after?
The resolution should be posted as soon as possible before the meeting and after.
Okay. And does that need to be read if it's posted before? I mean, the whole of it?
The resolution should be read at the town board meeting.
Okay, if you could sort of send me the ruling on that, because I don't think that's a very efficient use of anyone's time, especially the people that are watching this at home. I think it would be far better if they could see it on the website beforehand.
Well, we'll make sure it gets on the website beforehand from now on.
So Vicky,
If anybody really wants to follow through line by line.
Well, the account numbers are important, Leo, because they tell, like, if they're recreation lines, they tell them exactly what line that change is being made. So it is important for the record.
No, I don't doubt that it's important, Vicky. I'm just saying that if it's read, no one could possibly follow that. I mean, no one can follow those numbers at the speed that it's read. So it seems to me it would be much more helpful to people if it was posted in advance so that we didn't have to read every detail of a resolution like that where it's mostly numbers.
Yes, I do have to read the resolution, and yes, we can post it ahead of time.
Okay.
I mean, Leo, a lot of the reason they're read is for the visually impaired who may not be able to read them either on the screen or on paper. But, you know, I think we have an obligation, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, to be able to ensure that people can both hear and see any actions that we take as a board.
Well, if someone's watching, they can't read Victoria's lips, so it seems really strange to me. I mean, it seems like it's going to be
When
hard
it's
for
on
someone
closed
anyway.
caption, when it's on closed caption,
Ah,
you can.
okay.
And for fun, Leo, if you're bored, I'd go back and watch the meetings because that's how I take the minutes and I have it on closed caption. How many times you hear or yeah?
Good to know.
Damien, you are correct. It's CN here.
Brad, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. So my question is, and looking at these line transfers and looking at the rec committee caught my eye. Is the rec committee consulted on these expenses?
No,
No.
they don't meet as long as there's, this is money that's left over in their lines at the end of the year.
Mhm.
So it's one thing, you cannot have any overdrawn lines. Spot for municipal law. So wherever there's, additional monies left at the end of the year to make the lines whole, we take that money. This isn't any money that we're taking away from them that they can't use. This is money left over.
That is a great explanation.
In
for
the budget.
By the way. Yes, thank you.
Supervisor Prodi,
Yes.
Councilperson Doyle,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Bevelard,
Yes.
Resolution number 17, transfer of funds for January 2022. Whereas the town board has the authority to transfer funds when necessary or unanticipated to amend the budget. Whereas budget amendment, the general fund increasing expense line 13554.01.040, assessor CE account support by $40 and decreasing expense line 13554.01.074, assessor CE supplies by $40. Whereas budget amendment, the general fund increasing expense line 80204.01.102, planning CE rail trail. I guess that's rail train, it should be trail, that was my fault, by $110 and decreasing expense line 80204.01 planning CE for $110. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board authorized the transfer and necessary budget lines to process the transactions.
Second.
I'll second it.
Damien, you want to make the motion?
I'll move it. Yeah.
Thank you. And then we can let Brad. Was that Brad or was that?
Yes, second.
Supervisor Prodi,
Yes.
Councilpersons Doyle,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Bevelard.
Yes.
Now, the Wasaga Trail to the Train lighting discussion, we included something I believe Leo sent us regarding different types of light. I haven't heard back from the DOT regarding any lighting regulations. I can have, because I wanted them to give me a person who can work with us, and I haven't heard anything back from them. But what I can do is, if the board either wants me to follow up with them or wants John Andrews to, he may have another contact there. So that we can get regulations on, if there's any requirements by DOT for trails. I mean, we've been collecting information on this. I also wanted to let the board know that we do have $10,000 in the budget that was sent to us from a CDBG grant for Trail to the Train that we can use for lighting for the trail.
I'd hire John Andrews as he recommended and let him run with the responsibility of finding out exactly what our requirements are. So we do it all in a coordinated fashion. He has experience with this. I think he would have told us if he did not feel like this was in his league, and it is within his experience and his qualifications. So I think he's a great asset.
Yeah, I agree with that, Vicky. I just want to be clear, though, that the scope of work that he sent, like the proposal that he sent last time, did not include any research or coordination with DOT, because he wasn't aware that we possibly may be subject to regulations by DOT for that.
I could ask him to submit another proposal.
Yeah, I think that he
To
would be.
include that, would that be better?
I think that he would be the right person, in my opinion, to do this. Yeah, I agree
Okay.
with Vicky.
But I just want to let you know, we do have money. Came in late from Dutchess County Planning after, we had already made all the grant payments on what we borrowed for the trail. And, we still have $10,000 there that we can use for lighting for the trail.
I think that'd be great because we have a potential for a grant to help us along. But if we don't have bid specs that meet the requirements, then we really don't know what we're asking for.
Right.
I mean, we don't know that they don't, but we need DOT to verify that they do. I mean, the specs we have now may be totally fine. It also may be possible to just use, solar panels with a backup battery and not have to do all the hard wiring of the lighting, which would save a lot of money. But we need to know what DOT's rules are. And I couldn't find anything written down that answered the question clearly. So if John Andrews will follow up, that would be great.
Yeah, well, I'll send him the 2 links also that Mike Haggerty sent us.
Great.
From the DOT regulations and get an updated proposal, and then we'll just move on from there.
Great.
Yeah, just 2 points to color. As far as cost goes, it may actually be cheaper to hardwire it than it would be to put out solar panels and batteries and individuals. I just say this from experience. My day job, we manage like 15,000 bus shelters across the country. They all have solar. Many of them have solar panels, and where you're relying on solar collection to provide, say, security lighting during the full night hours, it's a very different story if you're in Miami than if you're in Detroit. And Wassaic is a lot closer to Detroit than it is to Miami as far as the hours of sunlight go there in the valley. So
good point.
Well, that's the good thing about having John Andrews work on this project, because he's done projects like this before. So, but I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page before I went ahead and did anything. Okay, I have resolution number 18, a resolution appointing a part-time temporary building inspector, one to the building department. I have scoured the countryside looking for building inspectors with other towns, but everybody is very busy and there's no time. We've been trying to get a list from the county, but they've just taken their time getting it. And meanwhile, the COs and the permits are all getting backed up, including the inspections. So we really need to have a person in there on a temporary basis.
Is this while Mike is out or in addition to his? Okay, so it's fulfilling his absence of which he's on paid leave, right? He's away. So for my quick calculations, this company is going to charge us $125 an hour for 16 hours a week. So it seemed like
no more than 16. Actually, they were only planning on 14, depending, on what needs to be done. But there's building inspections, there's permits backed up. Silo Ridge is going full bore. There's another subdivision coming in. We really can't get too far behind on this. So we do have on civil service, we do have a part-time temporary building inspector one listed on county personnel as an open position. So, we could, put this person temporarily in just to get everything caught up until we actually get another person in there.
Can we be advertising in the Poughkeepsie Journal?
We've advertised everywhere. We've advertised for several months for zoning administrator, deputy building inspector. There's nobody out there.
Indeed.com? I mean, is that a possibility to just go
Well,
to?
the building inspector, you have to have certification. You just can't go on a website that, looking for a job. I mean, there's certification that you have to have. It isn't anybody that can just come in and do this.
Well, we are on TV right now, so I would make an appeal to anyone in the town of Amenia who may be interested in getting the certification or may already have it. Please do reach out if you can offer your service.
We did interview 2 people who were newly certified, and one that had some certification. One is our constable, but Dutchess County personnel will not allow us to hire them because they will not allow someone to have 2 job titles in the same municipality. And the other person that we interviewed was someone who was certified, but also had a business and wanted to spend most of his hours at the business and only come into the building department for a couple hours each day, and that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea when Mike is coming back, Victoria?
He's out 8 to 10 weeks.
Oh, okay.
He and his just so you know, his surgery was very successful,
Oh, good.
and he is recuperating.
Great.
But this is a stopgap measure that we really need to do at this time.
So I support what Vicki said. We should continue to advertise. I know we've turned over most of the rocks in the county, but
We can continue to advertise, but in the meantime, we need to get the work done.
understood.
Yeah, it's
I have
so
a thought.
costly.
Do you think that home inspectors with their licensing and certifications would be good candidates for this? I know there's home inspectors, a lot of them.
No,
They would not be.
no.
Building inspector, it has to be a building
Has
inspector.
to be built.
You have to be certified. So this is, a way of having a temporary person who's actually certified and, and can get the work done. Because I think you noticed by the detail that came with the building report, how active it is in there. I mean, there's a lot going on. It doesn't matter, it's winter. I mean, a lot of work is being done all over the place. What happened with the building fees for last year, I put in amount in the budget, which I felt was, conservative enough, and we ended up with double the amount coming in fees. So there's a lot of activity going on, a lot of different things besides the subdivisions. We also have a lot of people working remotely. And while they're working remotely, they're looking around their house and saying, my bathroom needs upgrading. I need a deck. They're having things done in their home, while they're home. And, there's a lot of different reasons. It's, wonderful we have all this activity happening, but we need to, we need to make sure the paperwork is done appropriately. Joan Roberts has done a magnificent job of keeping everything all organized so that everything is, in piles and what needs to be done and when it needs to be done. She's organized everything she can, but we really need somebody to sign off on things. We need the signatures by a certified person.
Okay, let's go ahead and do it and keep looking.
Whereas there is a vacancy in the building department as the town of Amenia building inspector is currently out on medical leave. Whereas there is a necessity to fill this vacancy in the building department to conduct weekly building inspections, issue building permits, certificates of occupancy, and perform other responsibilities of the department. Whereas a position of part-time temporary building inspector 1, which is a non-competitive position pursuant to the rules for the classified civil service of Dutchess County, is available. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia has determined it necessary and appropriate to fill the position of part-time temporary building inspector 1. Now therefore be it resolved as follows: the recitation set forth above are incorporated in this resolution as if fully set forth and adopted herein. That the town board of the town of Amenia hereby appoint Z3 Consultants Incorporated to provide a certified inspector who meets the minimum qualifications for the position of part-time temporary building inspector 1, that the salary for this position will be $125 per hour for no more than 16 hours per week, commencing on Tuesday, January 25th, 2020, that the town supervisor and the town bookkeeper are hereby authorized and directed to file any and all documentation necessary to effectuate the intent of this resolution. Is there a motion?
I'll move. Oop.
Leo's fine.
Not
I'll
Leo,
second.
Doyle. Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Blackman?
Yes.
Preblard?
Yes.
Okay, if there are no other town board comments,
I actually have a few. Not very
Okay.
many though, Victoria. Don't be alarmed. Two things. One is that I wanted to sort of drop in on some of the department heads. I'd let them know first, but just so I get a better idea of what's going on and what they're doing and need. Does anyone have any problem with that?
no.
Okay, just wanted to check. And the other thing was the small projects that I listed in terms of goals for 2022. Some of those we've had drawings for a long time. And I wonder what the next step is. Is it talking to Mike about finding a grant for those things, or does it need to be voted on again, or what's the procedure now?
Are you talking about the kitchen?
I was also talking about Fountain Square. There was something that,
Yeah, Fountain Square, we can actually apply for another tribute garden grant that we had years ago.
okay,
And as far as the kitchen goes, we actually have money that was donated in an account. We have $28,000 seed
oh, that's
money.
great. Well, if you
To
want me to do
start.
any facilitating in terms of,
I would
working
love
with
you
Mike
to,
on that.
Leo. I was
Okay.
waiting for you to offer.
okay, we'll be in touch then.
Leo, I owe you the contact person that we need to work with us on the highway permit for Fountain Square. So I
Okay,
will
great.
look that up. I just forgot about that.
All right, terrific. Thank you.
Is there any other town board comments?
Oh, one more, sorry. I just had a number of constituent issues that came up. How do I typically deal with those? I mean, I got 3 in the last 2 days. Is that typically?
Depends what they are.
Well, you know about one of them, about a sidewalk issue, which I think I've clarified now. And I know that we talked about some streetscape improvements that might have neck downs, which would make it easier to know where to shovel so that you can get to a crosswalk. That might solve that problem. The other was the whole issue with the cows, and the other was that was actually it. It was just those 2. Sorry.
Okay.
Where is that typically brought up, or is it just a matter of calling you, or what's? I mean, how is this typically done? That's all.
Well, you can talk to me. I mean, all those things that you mentioned are all being worked on in
Okay,
one shape or form. And I've been in touch with every person who's lodged a complaint and let
Okay.
them know where we are.
Great, thank you.
Leo, I found it helpful to take those complaints, whether I get them on Facebook or wherever, and if I email them to the entire town board,
Okay,
in addition to Victoria, other people who are getting similar or the same complaints or the exact same complaint from the exact same person, we can all then sort of add gravity to the situation if there's multiple reports of the same issue.
okay, great, thank you.
Okay, if there are no more town board comments, are you sure, Leo? I don't.
I'll save it for next time, don't you worry.
Oh, wait.
You
I
can
have
come
one.
see me anytime. I have an open door policy.
Wait, Damien has one.
I just, on the tech front, put a meeting on for next Wednesday with BAS to talk about our office licensing upgrades. You should have that invite, Dawn Marie, Victoria.
Just so we can, I think we need to explain why we're doing this.
Yeah, so Office 2020 went end of life last year, and we're just trying to put a plan together to figure out how we want to handle our software licensing moving forward. We do currently pay for Office 365, which does include a license for all of the full Office suite of apps, but that's not the current workflow at Town Hall. So we're going to talk to BAS to see if there's a way to streamline and not double pay or be out of the support that Microsoft offers for those.
Great.
I also I've been working on a couple of new email accounts for new appointees. It would be extremely helpful if we had up-to-date list of everybody that was on the every single committee and board and everything. I know we had that as part of our reorg docs, but I'll reiterate, I think it should be a shared spreadsheet that we can all jointly maintain and access whenever we want. I'm happy to work with Nancy or whomever.
Yeah, you can go, Nancy's the one that works on that. She's currently working on the roster and also updating our emergency response book. So
Right.
you can go ahead and contact her, directly.
On the reorg document, we don't have context. Do we have that in some other format?
Yes, we don't put private information on the reorg document.
Okay, but it is available for making that list. Good.
Yes.
I'm all done.
Okay, if there are no more town board comments, I make a motion to go into executive session to discuss matters leading to the appointment or employment of a particular person. The town clerk is excused.
Second.
We'll be going into executive session with the town attorney and 2 candidates for judge.
Second.
Time now is 8:17 p.m. Confirming who's taking the minutes of the executive session to be published in the next 5 days.
That would be me.
Thank you. Just so I can put it in there. Supervisor Perotti,
Yes.
Councilperson Doyle,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Blackman,
Yes.
Revlard.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.